Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
Thank you to our sponsor, Seattle School of Chen Style Taiji Chuan. For more information, go to seattlechentaijai.com and Gateway Imprints of Lebanon, Oregon. For all your imprint needs, go to promoplace.com/gateway-imprints. Good morning, everybody. All right. I'm so glad to be with you again this morning. I'm Russ with Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Man, I am so excited this morning. I have such an incredible guest, and Rosalinde will be coming on in just a moment. She'll be telling you all about the coaching and great things that she is doing, but I'm going to let her tell you first. Right now, I want to tell you about me. If you do not know me, have not tuned into this show before, I love people. I love to connect. I am a marketing coach. I am a keynote speaker. I'm an inspiration specialist. I'm here to inspire and encourage you. And I love doing the live streaming. I love being able to go on live, interact with people, be able to bring you these incredible guests. You know, this is all about how amazing people connect. And Rosalinde is definitely one of those amazing people. She is. And so I'm so excited to have her on today. But also, I wanted to remind you that I am the author of Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose, just an encouraging book that will help you and encourage you to live the life you choose. You know, life throws a ton of stuff at us, and good things happen, bad things happen, but you know what? You get to choose your attitude. You get to choose your mindset. You get to choose the perspective that you look at life through. You know, every morning I talk about when I wake up, I have a morning routine and I put on what I call my awesome filter. I always say today's going to be awesome. And the reason I do that is because I want to have a positive perspective out of the gates. Before I get out of bed, I want to go charging through the day expecting good things to happen. And when you expect good things, usually you're more likely to have good things happen in your life. So anyway, that's enough about me today. I'm so excited to be here today. And we're going to go ahead and just bring Rosalinde in right now and get this show started. Here we go. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And I'm so glad to see that you're well.
Yes, well, I'm so glad to be well. You know, I mean, I can't even tell you what it's been. It was over 15 years. I don't know how much over. I can't remember the last time I was sick. And so being down sick at all is no fun, but I had been like forever. So this is definitely something I'm glad to have behind me. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, we're all happy to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it was such a blessing, you and everybody reaching out, and I appreciate that. So anyway, hey, enough about me. I am so excited to have you here today. And I want you, you know, I already know about the cool things you're doing, but I want you to tell everybody a little bit about you, where you came from, how you got to where you are today, and what you're up to.
Okay, so I started the entertainment industry as an actor and voiceover artist. And I waiting for my next gig, as most performers do. I held down full-time positions or short-term and long-term roles in like industries like HR, real estate, sales and marketing, hospitality, and the list goes on. So I had friends ask me to look over their resumes, because I was in HR, and I decided to be a certified resume writer. So helping business professionals and creatives. And I naturally segued into personal and career coaching, which is where I am today.
That is incredible. Quite a journey already. Tell me more about your life coaching and the things that you're doing there, what your focus is in that area.
So I mainly focus in narrative coaching and positive intelligence. And narrative coaching helps people. It's a mindful, integrative approach. It helps people in real time to make real changes with their own stories as the catalyst to make those changes. So it creates a conscious awareness of the left side of the brain where the logic, the problem solving, and all of that stuff, with the right side of the brain where all the images and the sensations, you're able to put feelings into words and create that conscious awareness and create a balance between both hemispheres.
That's interesting. Me being a total right brain person, I am the creative, crazy, fun type, and that's the reason I need people around me to help make me better in the detail area. And so you help people bring those things together. And
Yes, you mesh those together, and there's so many tools in how to tell a story, how to unwind the story. But in my travels, I then discovered positive intelligence, which really overlaid well with narrative coaching. And positive intelligence is research, neuroscience based in positive psychology as well. And it validates the relationship between positive intelligence and performance and happiness. We create these things in our brains. We're our own worst enemies. So how do we break these patterns? Because our brains have created these neural pathways. These are the stories that we hang on to. And so we convince ourselves of these. Sometimes they could be lies, sometimes they're not. But we have these stories that we hang on to that just no longer serve us. So how do we change those things? So I would ask, how long would you keep your hand on a hot stove? How long would you
not
keep
long.
Not long, exactly. So that's the aim of positive intelligence. You don't want to stay so long in that negative chatter. You want to decrease and weaken those saboteurs so that you can increase that, sage response. And what does that look like? The best example of that are the Jedis in Star Wars. The Jedis in Star Wars they have this unique ability of tuning out all of that external and internal commotion so that they can come in and they can stay centered and grounded to accomplish whatever it is that they need to accomplish, and they do it well.
That is interesting, that whole topic, because I'm a big believer in you are what you think. And the way that your mind works affects your entire life. And that's what you're talking about. And one thing you talk about the neural pathways, I know that there's actually scientific evidence that shows that when you think positively and you change the way you think, it actually develops neural pathways that make it more likely that is going to be your pattern.
That's so true, Russ. That is so true. And what positive intelligence does, it creates that mental fitness. So how do we do that? Just as you would go to the gym to get physically fit, so you pick up weights to gain strength and do some cardio, you would do the same with mental fitness. And this doesn't come over time. Just like if you went to the gym, you're not going to create these big guns by going to the gym, for 2 days. So how can we do that? Well, it's an app-based program that follows you every day, and you do these little exercises that really lessen that chatter. The differentiator between world-class athletes and the runners-up is how well do they recover? How long do they stay when they make that mistake? When you see the tennis players, they make that mistake and they're right back in the center and they're grounded and they're ready. And that's really the aim, for us to be is, how much do we want this to overcome? We want this to increase. We want the sage response to increase while decreasing all of that negative saboteur chatter.
Right. And, I think that is something that is so critical to think about, because I think people let life happen to them instead of making life happen. They let the thinking and the thoughts and the voices in their head just happen to them instead of being intentional about what they're doing. And I have a really intentional uh, platform policy in my life, whatever, that I use to really increase the positive, like you're talking about, because I want to focus on that. I take out things in my life that are bringing the negative voices. The news would be one, and things like
Oh,
that
yeah.
that I will remove, because that will reinforce, like you're saying, the things I do not want to reinforce. I am all about this, but I'm listening to all this garbage, and so that's what I'm pumping in me, and so that affects the way that I then step out and act with other people. I mean, a really good example is I
Mhm.
used to listen to talk radio. Okay. Doesn't matter how you are on the platform, what you feel about politically or socially or whatever, but I
Mhm.
would listen to that. And the idea is it would get me so worked up that I would just go spouting all the things that I'd listened to. And
Wow.
that is something that I think I don't want in my life. That's the reason I've removed those things. I want to be able to affect, and I talk to myself. I always encourage people to do that. Talk to yourself.
Yes.
Tell yourself positive things. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. These are self-fulfilling prophecies. I agree with you. If you think negatively, then these things are going to be negative. If you think positively, and I'm not saying let's just live in a utopia. I'm not saying that this is something that, oh, we can't do this. Yes, we can do this. It's just lessening the time that we're there. And the results and the statistics really show that increasing that PQ muscle does work. Just for example, salespeople that have a higher PQ muscle, they sell 37% more than the lower counterparts. And workers with a higher PQ muscle, they take fewer sick days, and they are less likely to be burnt out or quitting. And if you're on project teams with a manager that has a high PQ level, they're going to perform 31% better than the average. So, these results really are, astounding that we are able to do this with our brains. It just takes time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing, because it's all about the results of what you're doing with your mindset and your approach. And so many people think, yeah, you just can't positive think your way. I mean, I am a super positive thinker. I'm a super optimistic guy. And my kids used to tell me, Dad, everything is not always happy. And I said, you're right. It's not always happy, but that
That's
doesn't
right.
mean we can't choose to react to that positively or to act
Correct.
positively. And I'm a huge fan of being an actor, not a reactor. I've already decided what I think, what I feel, how I want to approach things, and that's what I go about doing things. I don't let everything affect me and react to all that and get myself all in a tither over things that are going on. Instead, I am choosing the way I'm thinking. I'm choosing the way I'm reacting. And I think that's important. We got to be really intentional about that.
I absolutely agree. And this is how we create these kinds of stories. We hang on to all these stories because we've created, this negative vibration or negative vibe that is surrounding us, and we don't know how to shake it. We don't know how to get out of it. And, you know, doing these exercises really, really does give you a moment to step back. And and what I like about this is not these both of these methodologies are not just for individuals, but they're also for, groups and teams. And also, work-life applications, like family dynamics, living with difficult people, having difficult conversations. So this really does mesh well with everything that you do.
Yeah, and I love that the actual exercises, the actual putting things together, and how you relate that to when you want big muscles, you got to go to the gym and you got to work out. If you want big brain muscles, you got to work out and you got to actually do exercises, and you
Right.
got to be. I mean, again, it comes back to being intentional about what you're doing, being intentional about the choices you're making, and I just love that because yeah, you talk to a company with your coaching and you're telling them how much more productive and they can be and how much happier and positive they can be through the things they're doing by thinking the right things, by doing these exercises that strengthen the areas that are going to make them better.
And when we talk about organizations and you're talking about teams, when you do the positive intelligence and you go into the group program, well, you're going into the group program. They're called pods, and the reason why you're in these pods is because you're 500%. There's a likelihood of you creating new positive habits with when you have accountability partners. So it's one thing to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this. But it's another thing to say, okay, well, you know what, I got to be accountable here. So,
Right.
and then there's so many people that are relying on you to be accountable.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's it too. That's a big thing about, I think when it comes to coaching, when I'm coaching people in businesses, the number one thing I tell them a lot of times is a lot of the stuff that I'm telling you, you may already know, because people will give me I know that. And I always look at them and I say, well, why aren't you
Right.
doing it?
Mm.
And the whole idea is being held accountable for the things you need to do, because what happens is left to our own devices, we're just going to go along and do whatever we feel is great and wonderful and not be doing the things that we really need to be doing. We need that accountability. We need that reminder. We need that positive input in our lives so that we keep ourselves on the right track.
I agree. And I would also add that not only there's accountability, but you have to have consistency. Because yes, you can be accountable at one moment, but then you're not consistent in this moment and this moment. So really they both do go together, and that's why we do these exercises, and we are consistent in doing these tools, using these tools.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree with that more. I have, it's interesting. I have 5 steps to connection. It's really simple. And if anybody wants to see that, you can go to russhedge.com. You can download a free worksheet. I just put your email in, get my 5 steps to connection. And these steps actually apply to a lot of life. But the first one is to start, because most people don't get started with what
Right.
they are doing. And the last one is to be consistent. Just keep doing it. And those are the two things. People don't start and then they don't get into a positive habit. You talked about habits, and we are creatures that are made of habits. We have
Correct.
good habits, we have bad habits. And so we get to choose, do we want to let those bad habits take over our life, or do we want to make good habits? And I have a good exercise habit in the morning and I make myself do it. I'm intentional and I'm consistent because I've decided that's important to me. And yesterday morning, when I got up and I didn't want to go swim and I didn't want to go bike, I did anyway. And then once I got done, I felt awesome.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and especially we see that at going to the gym, and it parlays into this as well. You have to be you're making that choice. You're accountable to yourself, and you're accountable to others, but you also have to be consistent. Those are really three key things that I think, and of course, have a sense of humor about it. Don't take yourself so seriously.
That is really important. Yes,
That
I
is
think.
number one. And
Oh,
I find that there's the two H's, the humor and the hope. Because where there's humor, there's always going to be hope.
that is awesome. I love that. Where there is humor, there is always going to be hope. That is so great. I love that. I got to write that down. I, I think that you're exactly right. We take ourselves way too seriously. We think way too much of ourselves sometimes
Oh
too.
my goodness,
And
yes.
it's so funny because always being a very confident, outgoing guy, my mom used to tell me it's not all about you. She was supporting and loving, but then my beautiful wife tells me it's not all about
Oh,
you
I
too,
do.
just to remind me because I want to give and serve and love people I do. But when we are super confident, sometimes we do think just a little too much of ourselves. And I think when life is I always say we're better together. When we're thinking of
Absolutely.
others, when we're giving to others, it always makes our life better.
I absolutely agree because when I'm feeling down and out, and the feeling of giving to someone else makes me happier. I think that's really the key to happiness, is really being giving and supporting other people, because eventually that pays forward. You've made that investment. You've made the bank deposit, as we look at it as a bank deposit. And you know it's not just about taking, it's about depositing more.
Oh my goodness, that's exactly what it is. When we deposit more in others, when we really have a servanthood mindset and we are really trying to, sow those seeds, we will reap a harvest in our life. I
Together.
Exactly, exactly. And I just think that's so important. I always relate things back. I am a strong believer, and I'm always thinking in biblical terms on things. But you're so right. We are better together. When we sow, we will reap together a better harvest, a better life, and we just need to think about those things. I just think that's critical. And every day, I tell you, when I'm struggling, I always tell people if you want to be encouraged and you need help and accountability in your life, then you need to reach out to others and you need to encourage them. You need to give them that little bit of hope and that accountability, maybe that they're looking for in their life, because it all goes around. What goes around comes around.
That absolutely right. And when you talk about, okay, this is not about my world, that's where that negative chatter starts to come in, and you really have to learn how to lessen all of those voices. And how do we, get to, looking at other perspectives?
Right.
Well, when bad things happen, and it's very unfortunate that really, tragedies happen, there you may not see them at the moment, but there are gifts and opportunities that need to be unveiled, or that have not yet unveiled, and you don't know, but you will know. I do believe, as bad as everything is, everything does happen for a reason.
It does. Oh, I agree that I agree totally. Ultimately all things work for the good when you have a positive mindset and when you are expecting that. And I think that we all have challenges and really, hey, it's like the sandpaper of life. It is refining us. It is making us better and we're learning. We need to learn and grow through situations in our life. And that is what I think is so important. And people that miss that are really missing out. You're talking about the negative chatter, and Rob is commenting about that this
Yeah.
morning. And I every morning you wake up in the morning, and what do most people do when you first wake up? Usually, things start going through your head. You start
Yes.
worrying about the day ahead. You start fretting about what you have to do. You're worried about this, worried about that, thinking about this. And so I have made a very intentional routine every morning to change that. So every morning when I wake up, I think I probably told you this before, and it's in my
Yes.
book too, in case you
Hmm.
want to get more information. I always tell myself, I'm thankful first. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for God, my beautiful wife, my family, all that I have. And number two, I say, I've got this. I have this talents, abilities, and strength. I can do this today. I've got this. Number three, I always say today's going to be awesome. Like I said before, and that's when I put on my awesome filter. That helps
I love
me.
that. Awesome
That,
filter.
yeah, that's what I do every day. And that helps me, and I always tell people, I have a lot of people that I coach that laugh and say, yeah, I can't do that. I can't say today's going to be awesome. And I say, you know what? That's okay. You need to do what works for you,
Right.
because what works for you is going to be the best thing. And that's the same thing I tell people with exercise. If you can't go out and run 20 miles, don't. If you can walk a half mile in the morning consistently, that's what you should do. If you can do 15 sit-ups consistently, that's what you should do. You should do what works for you and what you can maintain, because people that overblow and try so hard to be like somebody else, to instantly get the big muscles in their body or their brain, and then they get overwhelmed and they can't do it and they stop.
Right. Then they do nothing at all in the end.
That's right. And that's where that's a sad statement, but it's so true, because people stop. They do nothing because they're overwhelmed.
And these little exercises, they're in small chunks. They take less than 2 minutes in a day. Throughout the day, they're 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 2 minutes. And the beauty of this, it's okay. Well, I can't do this. Well, you're carrying it on your phone. It's app based, so it's always going to be there. It's always going to be with you, so you can take it anywhere you want.
That is incredible. Hey, that always works for me. If I could take it on my phone,
Right.
I've got it, because I live with my phone. If I lost my phone, I lost most of my life right there. So I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing.
So that's and that's the beauty about this, and so to bring it back to changing these stories and changing these neural pathways, creating these new neural pathways. These stories can change. You just have to make that choice and be accountable and be committed. The commitment. You want to make that choice. It's a commitment.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't happen overnight. It's always a work in progress.
Right.
That's what athletes do. They work at it and they work at it and they try and perfect it.
That's right. And you're right. We're all a work in progress. It's something that you have to commit to and be willing to do. If you can't you can drag a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. So we have to have within ourselves the want to be able to do that, and then just be able to take that action. And yeah, I just think that's so good what you're saying there. The last thing I'm going to say as we wind up on this, and then I'm going to give you the last word, is that it's like a good analogy is take a look at Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Joe Montana, people like that in the sports world. Why were they the best in what they did? Because when everybody else was sitting back thinking, I'm so good, I'm in the NFL, I'm in the NBA,
Yes.
I'm doing this, they were going early and practicing and working on things. Why was Tiger Woods so good? When everybody else thought they had it all together and he was killing everybody, he
Right.
was changing and improving his swing and all the things he's working on. You're like, you got to be killing me. You're already killing everybody by a mile and you're improving. But that's because that was their mindset, to always be better. And I think when we have that want, we have that mindset, we do the exercises and all the stuff like you talked about, we're going to make a better life.
Absolutely. It's making that choice. I agree. It's making the choice of committing to changing that mindset, changing that story, changing the narrative that you've been hanging on to for so long. It could be for years that you're hanging on to this story, and it may not even be what you think it is. And being accountable and being consistent. These are just things that are so important in our lives right now.
Man, that is so good. So good.
And where
Okay.
there's humor, there's hope.
Woohoo! I love happiness and humor. There you go. So listen, people are going to want to know more about you. I'm already all excited. So tell everybody how they get a hold of you so they can, talk to you about your coaching, talk to you about all these exercises and all the great stuff you've got.
Well, they can message me on LinkedIn, or they can just go and email me at Rosalinde at URLaunchPad, which is URLaunchPad.com, all one word.
Perfect. Perfect. I think we've already linked to those, but if not, I'll make sure we have in the show notes and make it easy for people to click on that and get to you.
Thank you.
And
And
so,
and
yeah,
again, this is great for individuals, groups, teams. It works all across the board.
that is so great. Well, that's good. Well, I'm telling you, if you're listening today, you have got to get in touch with Rosalinda about this information because she's awesome. I mean, this information, this has been a great discussion. I let it go over actually.
Oh,
We're
my
over
gosh.
time
Oh my
because
gosh.
I've been having so much fun and it's been such a great discussion. But anyway,
Oh my gosh.
listen.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you so much too. And we will talk again soon. Hang tight as I wrap things up and thanks
Sure.
again.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Wow. What a great discussion. You know, I am so blessed. I'm so honored to have such great people like Rosalinda on the show that bring such value. Man, this discussion today, if you were listening in today, please share this with your friends. Please share this out there and tell people about Rosalinda and about the great things and the amazing people that connect that are on this show. Man, I tell you, I have some of the best connectors, people, and people that are adding value to your life. And that's what I want to bring you every week, every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We're here with Marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie. So much fun. Also, want to make sure and remind you that when coming up in September, if I can speak, we're starting season 2 of the experience live with Russ and Scott every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We have best of playing right now, so you can still watch that every Wednesday. So I'm replaying some old great episodes. So every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we'll go again live here in the middle of September. But until then, if you missed past episodes, you can watch every Wednesday. Also, don't forget to go to my YouTube page and subscribe. There's the whole wealth of interviews and everything there on my YouTube page. So that information is in the link as well. You can go directly to that. RussHedge.com is a way to get in touch with me. RussHedge.com, simple. You can get a hold of me and all my social media links. It has my email, my phone number, everything you need to contact me. You can even schedule time to directly Zoom with me. We can chat. I had a great chat this morning with Aya out of Cairo, Egypt. She is an outstanding individual. And so it was great this morning. But anyway, those are the type of things we can do, building community, learning from each other, and getting better. So enough out of me. So great to see everybody today. Thank you for being here. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.